Persona 5 is about a group of teenagers who become vigilantes to go to another world to fight demons and change the hearts of criminals. This other world is called the Metaverse, where cognition turns your thoughts, feelings, and desires into reality, and this vigilante group are called the Phantom Thieves, who have superpowers called a persona, and it helps them go into the Metaverse, fight the demons, and help them to steal the desires of criminals. That's basically what the whole Persona series is all about. Teenagers going to another world to fight demons. In the DC universe, the Lantern Corps have reins that give the wearer superpowers, and in order to wear one of these reins, you need to have a strong emotional connection with this rein. These emotions are hope, avarice, will, love, compassion, rage, fear, and there are two other Lantern Corps that are not part of the emotional spectrum called life and death, but we are going to count these as our Lantern Corps options. And we're going to go over each member of the Phantom Thieves and find out which Lantern Corps they belong in. Joker. With him having the power to hold multiple personas, I have to put him in the Life Lantern Corps, since a White Lantern has all the powers of the other Lantern Corps that are part of the emotional spectrum. A persona is a superpower a persona user can use that allows them to fight demons in the metaverse, and a persona user can only have one persona since each person has one heart. But Joker is different because he has the Fool Arcana, giving him the ability to hold multiple personas at once, which is pretty similar to a White Lantern, so really it's the best Lantern Corps for Joker. Ryuji Sakamoto, aka Skull. Now for Ryuji, it's either love or compassion. Here's why. At first, he might be in the Rage Lantern Corps for his temper, but it's not his dominant emotion. Yes, he wanted revenge on Kamoshida for breaking his leg and getting rid of the track team, but after he got his revenge when he goes to prison, he moved past it, and the only reason why he wanted to change the hearts of criminals is because he cares about people who are in danger, with the added benefit of getting the attention of the ladies. But his selflessness is what drives him, so this is a bit tough to know which Lantern Corps is better suited for him, but either the love or the compassion Lantern Corps makes sense. Futaba Sakura, aka Oracle. She's in the Will Lantern Corps. She was dealing with the grief of her mother's suicide, what she thought was suicide, but turned out to be a murder. But she manages to gain the courage to ask for help, not in the most usual way possible, because she was blackmailing the people who she was asking help for. When she entered her own palace, she finally sees the truth that her mother was murdered. And going through all of it and facing the truth about what really happened, all of this takes a lot of willpower because she thought she was responsible for her own mother's suicide. So this was very hard for her. So all of this, you must have intense courage and willpower to even go through all of this to face the dark reality of the truth. So yeah, this is exactly why she's in the Will Lantern Corps, and being in the Will Lantern Corps would be good for her metaverse suit color scheme. Haru Okumura, aka Noir. She's in the Compassion Lantern Corps. She grew up with a rich father, but when his father was overworking his employees, she wanted him to face justice and was thinking of others than being more concerned with her personal problem with her fiance that her father wants her daughter to marry for political reasons. And after facing off her father's killer, she still sympathizes with him, even though she will never forgive him for killing him. If this isn't compassion, then I have no clue what is. Goro Akechi, aka Crow. It's rage. He grew up in a terrible home whose mother is a prostitute and his father didn't bother to care for him, so after awakening his powers, the power of his two personas, Loki and Robin, he teams up with his father to help him become prime minister and take revenge on him after making him acknowledge him. He wanted nothing more than revenge. He is a great candidate for the Rage Lantern Corps. Wolf. Now he's a detective in Persona 5 Strikers, and he teamed up with the team to help him catch who the real culprit is in stealing the desires of people. The team at first hates him because, he's a police officer, and after everything that happened in the first game with the police being corrupt, they had no reason to trust him. But over time, they grew attached to one another. They understand each other, and they learned that he had a daughter who he had a rocky relationship with because of him not trying to take down the drunk driver who killed his wife. But still, he was willing to put his life in danger and stand up to his daughter's shadow to protect his daughter. At least he did it thinking his daughter was in danger. It may be a typical father thing to do, but he cares about his daughter despite their rocky relationship. And he even was willing to sacrifice his career to protect the Phantom Thieves when the cops were about to arrest them. And he basically told the Phantom Thieves to get away, this is a trap. He was so selfless that he was willing to put his life on the line for those he cares about. So he qualifies for the Love Lantern Corps. On to Kamiki, aka Panther. She is qualified for love or compassion, possibly, but I say she has one thing that outdoes the others: hope. You see, when her friend Shiho was in the hospital and getting physical therapy, long story short, Shiho is An's best friend. She joined Kamoshida's football team to be a volleyball star, but Kamoshida abuses his whole team, including her. An has no idea of that. And Kamoshida would not give Shiho the starting position on his team unless An sleeps with him. An refuses, and then Kamoshida assaults Shiho for that. An was like the light in the dark for Shiho to keep going and recover, and she did recover, all thanks to An inspiring Shiho. An even wants to be a full-time model and share her stories to inspire others and give them hope. So what better Lantern Corps is it than hope? Mona, aka Morgana. He belongs in the Hope Lantern Corps. Love is possible, but genuine feelings don't qualify for the Love Lantern Corps. He manages to keep going to pursue his dream of becoming human, and although he had doubts about becoming human, whether he thinks he is human or not, he still manages to keep going to at least get the answer of what he is when he lost his memories. And even though he finds out he's not human, he either keeps going as a cat or trying to find another way to be human, depending on which Persona 5 game you played, Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal. So something was keeping him going, the hope he will become human. And when it's revealed that he was created to guide Joker to Mementos to take down the God of Control, he was the key of hope. If none of this is hope, then I have no idea what is. Yusuke Kitagawa. He wanted to be a great artist and even took criticism from his art piece to become better and learn what beauty from art is. He didn't give up and even achieved creating his next art piece called Desires and Hope. Though he was a bit hard to place in the Lantern Corps, Will just sounds like the only option for Yusuke. Makoto Nijima, aka Queen. Rage or Will. Makoto is a top-tier student with perfect grades and always living up to society's expectations, and pretty much just does what she's told by her evil principal and whatnot. But regardless of all that, she decides a life for herself and not be her principal's puppet anymore and strive to be a police commissioner. She manages to overcome the obstacles to do things to achieve her goals, but she also has a bad temper to the point that she represents wrath because of her father's killer, her complicated relationship with her sister, and the pressure from society's expectations of her. She's more qualified for Will, but I still love to see her wear a power ring of rage. Both are perfect, but Will more so. Sumire Yoshizawa, aka Violet. As I mentioned when I put her in Gryffindor, she had bravery to keep going after facing the truth of her sister, becoming her real self, admitting her feelings to Joker, and pushing herself to be great for her gymnastic competitions. And bravery is part of the will to be in the Will Lantern Corps, so Will is just perfect for Sumire Yoshizawa. Sophia. Love. She was a bit difficult to place in a Lantern Corps, but hope was one of the few things I could think of because she's happy, who cares a lot about her friends, she grew attached to during the events of Persona 5 Strikers. I can't put her in Compassion Lantern Corps because she's still learning about humans, and she's an AI, so how can she relate to humans? But really overall, her selflessness is what puts her in the Love Lantern Corps. And honestly, I just can't think much of another Lantern Corps that's perfect for her. And these are all the members of the Phantom Thieves that I placed in a Lantern Corps. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.